situation for JJ McCarthy. I don't see the reason in bringing him in. John, the rest of the roster here with Howie Roseman. Where do you think he needs to address after watching 12 practices up close? You seen one preseason game up close. You drove all the way to Baltimore to watch that stink show over the weekend. If you were Howie and you could address one spot, where would it be right now? And what, big picture, or how would you view some of the positions right now that Howie might address? I mean, last year it took all the way up to the trade deadline for him to address, the edge rusher position. So the window doesn't close when the season begins. Howie will be active all throughout. But what are those spots right now that you think could be a move this summer or even a move in the first half of the year, depending on how things look?
Well, I think there's two obvious ones. One complicated by a draft pick, but I think they have a need at safety, which we all knew coming in. And we'll see what he does. And then tight end. They're just not good enough at tight end, especially considering they're going to play more 12, I would think. Now, I don't know how they can play a lot of 13. But if they want to use these multiple personnel sets, and they certainly do, they need an upgrade at tight end behind Dallas Goedert, which is disappointing considering, the second round pick. And then safety, obviously. And Marcus Epps is just, an average player, but you want to get better. And for whatever reason, I don't know, because of his versatility hurting him, doesn't seem like Vic wants to go down that route of giving the job to Michael Carter because of his value as a nickel player and a dime player as well. So if they can get a more proven commodity at safety and tight end to me. And then, if Makai Lemon gets hurt again, or then you have to start talking about wide receiver as well. Because, I've never understood that mentality, and I use the baseball rotation of, okay, you got a bunch of number 4s. That's not what you want. It's not what you want. So, I mean, I don't care if the depth is better. Yeah, Hollywood Brown's a little bit better than who was the 4th receiver last year? Darius Cooper, I guess.
Yeah, was it Cooper? Yeah.
And Darius would be a little bit better, being the 5 than what you had last year. Okay. Can they help you win if the top 3 are not either able to play or performing? In the case of Makai Lemon, we don't know with him. And we still don't know about Wicks, although Wicks has had a good camp. A little bit concerned with that position, I would say, more than most people, other than Devontae Smith.
It does make it tough, though, to make a move, right? Just because of the nature of using a first-round pick on Lemon. I mean,
yeah, well, it makes it tough on the second-round pick. So, sure, it makes it tough for a first-round pick. And if Makai comes on, then it's okay. You're fine. It's probably not great, but you'll be fine. But
what type of receiver would you make a move for, style-wise?
Well, it's not the style to me as much as the production. Like I need somebody who's a proven producer. But if you're, because I don't think you're taking Wicks out of the equation, and he's more of an X. So, whether it's a slot or a Z, more that type, even though there's some redundant. And remember, Devontae can do all this as well. So you can do whatever you want, essentially, because Devontae can play any position, including the slot. So that gives you a little bit of a luxury to just go get somebody who's more of a proven commodity. But I don't know if that player's out there. And to your point, it's, yeah, it's difficult to do it because what basically that would happen if he's hurt, over say he's going to be out for half the season or something like that. Then you could sort of make that move. Tight end. Boy, there's a famous local person who told me about the Phillies, not Jeff Kerr, but that they're poorly constructed. And I don't pay enough attention to baseball that isn't the Yankees that tell you if that's true or not. But very baseball savvy guy told me that they're poorly constructed. That tight end room is poorly constructed.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
I keep going back to his comment to me, and I'm like, that's what I think about this tight end room. It is. You got 7 guys, and it's so poorly constructed. Very un-Howie-like. So that's a concern for me.
On Howie like is right. That to me makes me think he would do something. Now I don't know how you fix the construction of it. Like similar question I just asked on receiver. What style of tight end are you bringing in? Munt is your blocker. Do you need a better pass catcher? What would you be looking for there at tight end?
Eli Raritan or Max Clare. Can you redo the draft?
Yeah, right.
Guys who, in the case of Clare, he's probably a better receiver, but he can also block. In the case of Raritan, he's probably a better blocker, but he can also receive to a acceptable degree. And Johnny, he's a really good blocker, and he's not a threat at receiver at all. Stowers, really good receiver in theory. We haven't seen it. Not a blocker at all. They're too one-dimensional, and that obviously makes it easier for the defense to pick up tendencies pretty quickly. So you're making it difficult on Sean Mannion because he's got to cobble together how he's going to use these guys. And other than Dallas Goedert, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious what he's going to use them for, which is never the position you want to be in. If you look at all those Rams tight ends, they all do both. At least to an acceptable level.
Right. Boy, it didn't make sense before they drafted Stowers, and you explained it on the show. I'm not saying the player's not going to be good one day. I mean, maybe he will be good one day, but just from a fit standpoint, it is an interesting pick at why they went that route. Now, can't go backwards. I mean, obviously they drafted who they drafted, but I do wonder.
Well, they drafted with the future in mind. That's clearly a future pick. Which then the argument is, can you?
I mean, what are they? I mean,
well, I mean, if he gets a year in, their thought is,
I guess they're just projecting he can become a much better all around tight end.
Yes, a year in the weight room, year in the strength program. Yeah, he's a smart guy. I think he can. He's got the body for it. Dad weight, dad power. Obviously, he's a great athlete. Smart. There's no reason he can't, but it's going to take a while. And right now, he's like he wasn't equipped to block at Vanderbilt. Like now, he's going to block at the NFL level. I don't know. And you saw the first play against Baltimore.
Does a short-term, patchwork job make any sense? I mean, people throw the name Zach Ertz out there just because he's been here, but anybody like that out there that could make some sense for this team? Because I don't think they're making a long-term move because, they're betting on Stowers. So any move they make to me wouldn't be like a guy, for example, that maybe has a contract coming up and the team he's with doesn't want to pay him, because I don't see the Eagles looking to pay somebody. That's what.
Well, I think even though we've said it for a couple of years. I mean, one of these years, Dallas isn't going to be here. So you need multiple tight ends. So I don't think that it stops them from going away from a younger player. And that's what you would want. Somebody, I always point to CJ, somebody for whatever reason where he is hasn't worked out. They're not going to extend him. Final year of his contract. Can do both. Maybe a little bit under the radar. I don't know if that player exists, but that would be the home run. No, I again, Zach Ertz, franchise legend. A, you want more of a blocker. B, you want a supporting guy. You don't. To me, that would be if Dallas got hurt, then you make that phone call. But not in. He wouldn't be the guy I'd be looking at.
I wonder if
I might just throw EJ Jenkins out there and say, all right, sink or swim.
I wonder if Dallas Goedert's career might be oddly extended here in Philly because of a pick like Stowers.
Well, he clearly doesn't want to leave.
Clearly. Already taking pay cuts.
Yeah, 2 years in a row. You don't see that very often. So I can't say I've been burned too much by assuming Dallas Goedert's not going to be here. Think about how many times he pushed back his deadline.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing anything he could for the Eagles to make it work.
So, I mean, he clearly doesn't want to leave. And if he plays well, maybe run it back again. 1 year, $6 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, how long was Ertz here after they drafted Goddard? He was here a few years, wasn't he?
Yeah. And that became a bit of an issue, which is why I ultimately got traded, though. So, because they wanted to obviously move Dallas sort of ahead of them, and that was a difficult thing to do. And everybody knew he was going to get traded, but took a little bit longer than people expected. So that would have been Nick's first year, 2021. And Dallas got drafted the year after the first Super Bowl, so 2018. So they were here for 3+ years together. But Dallas was clearly the better player, probably by year 2. But, Zach was still a big-time receiver. I think he caught 88 balls that season. So
Wentz loved him too. He went to him a lot, man.
Oh yeah. So it's difficult. People think it's you get two good tight ends. That's great. Then you got to figure out how to massage the egos and all that stuff.
Yep, that's a big part of it. All right, Johnny Mac, good stuff there. We'll see. What would you put the percentage at the classic Johnny Mac scale at whether Howie would make a move at either of those positions before the trade deadline? I won't put it before the season.
Well, make a move like 80%. Make a move at those. Yeah. I mean, he
make a move. Yeah. At those positions.
Make a move at those particular positions. I would say it's over 50, so I'll put it at 55.
Wow. Okay.
More safety than tight end. I don't think he'll make a move at tight end. That's my
receiver.
concern.
You think is far out there?
Yeah. I don't think he'll make a move
there either.
Unfortunately, because to your point, first and second round picks. But if they're not going to help you, and ironically, it's pretty clear the second round pick's not going to help you early, even though the first round pick's been out for 8 practices or whatever it is. He's got more opportunity to help you early.
Yeah.
Still. And he should.
Here's Gary checks in. He says, Johnny Wilson is already in the building. People think Johnny can convert. John, what do you say?
Yeah, well, I've always said when Johnny is done here, when he goes to his next team, and it could be this year, but when he goes to his next team, they will move him to tight end. That's my belief.
Why don't the Eagles just do it then?
Didn't believe. I mean, I haven't talked about it with Nick for a while, but they thought he was a receiver. Now he's nobody talks about him much, so I guess I could bring it up at some point. But they always saw him as a receiver, and it was more for the blocking aspect, obviously. But I mean, he's already 6'6", 230-ish. Gained 10 more pounds. He's already a good blocker from his time at wide receiver. Now that's a lot different. You got to chip defensive ends and occasionally get them, but I think he's capable of it. I would have moved him to tight end, but they think he's a receiver.
Well, we'll see if that shakes out.